Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler, and today we are doing another comparison video of the CJRB and the Civivi Backlash. The reason I picked these two knives to compare against each other is I think I accidentally compared them against each other when I was reviewing the Feldspar. It's to me, the Feldspar is the equivalent of the Backlash in the CJRB family. So, without further ado, let's jump on into it and let's get going. This time I'm actually writing down what I'm doing, so hopefully I don't jack it up like the last one. All right. So if you take a look, blade shapes are very similar. The length is about the exact same. This one's a little bit dirtier, but that's all right. So getting into the aesthetics, which one looks better? Now, I don't know if it's a fair comparison because I am using the Backlash with the ebony wood handle scales, and I do love those scales on it. I think that it looks amazing and feels amazing. But the blade itself looks better, in my opinion. And overall, just the Civivi Backlash is a hands-down classy-looking knife. I don't know about this bronze spacer right there around the pivot. I don't hate it, but it's not one that I would choose. The G10 does have a wood look, so it actually does compare pretty well. But this versus this aesthetically, I just feel like there's a little bit more going on that's subtle and yet still aesthetically appealing. So the aesthetics are definitely going to the Backlash. Ergonomics. Let's get into it. So this feels good. You can get a finger in there. This feels good. So the Feldspar has very good ergonomics. The Backlash, this feels good. This feels great. Civivi has absolutely nailed it when they do this style. Let me grab my Doris. Probably the best ergonomic knife that Civivi has made, in my opinion. And it is the exact same without the thumb ramp on right there. And actually, the Backlash does compare when I said the best, but realistically, you know, they're similar. Anyways, not those two. It's about these two. So ergonomically speaking, the Backlash takes it down again. And again, bias. I love the jimping's okay, but I love the thumb ramp that you get here. This, you're so locked in. And I never choked up on a knife before I got into the knife world, so maybe that doesn't mean too much to some people. But to me, that choke up position feels great, and you have so much more control over that knife. Ergonomically speaking, we're going to the Backlash. Quality. Now, I did absolutely nothing to this, and it is pretty damn good, pretty damn solid. It's dead center. The action on it's great. It locks up just fine. No blade play whatsoever. And I don't see any quality necessary issues here. Quality there looks great. Here, same thing. Action on it's great. Action on it's great. You know, the centering of this blade, and this might not be fair because I've taken this thing apart, but it was center when it came in, and it's center now, so that's a testament to who it is. This, you know, the knockdown here, they've chamfered some of this, you know, for here. Whereas here, they really didn't chamfer in it. It's just it's a raised, and I forgot what that's called, but it's basically like you have a raised area. It's not flat. Whereas this one, they cut it down. They gave you a little bit of like stylized grip here. You got the Civivi logo, which should have gone into the aesthetics. Quality, I just feel like with the Civivi lineup, they've spent more time, and rightfully so, it's a little bit more money. They've spent more time on just the details, just the deets, right? They're you could maybe toss it up, but I just think that, you know, and I said they don't have recessed liners. Feldspar definitely has recessed liners. Let me sidetrack again because I can't fucking focus on the same thing. My Tala is I'll answer that question later. I think my towel is in the drawer. But, so the quality is going to go to the Civivi Backlash. I think when you're comparing the quality of the Civivi lineup versus the CJRB lineup, the Feldspar comes the closest to just damn near awesome quality. For CJRB, the Ria just kills it. The Ria quality is great. But Civivi's, you don't get... The biggest bitch I had about Civivi's altogether was the Statera came in with a super weak D10. Everything else was fine. The blades were centered. The action worked fine. There was no grittiness when you're doing anything. I mean, it just... They take a lot of care into what they do for the price range that you're getting. So that's a huge plus there. Carry. Both of these have a deep carry pocket clip. They are both ambidextrous, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. They both have recessed. No, they don't. The Backlash is not recessed. The pocket clip is not recessed there. So in theory, that could catch your pocket. I haven't had that happen, but it, in theory, could. This may surprise some. It may not. I have to give the carry to the Feldspar. Why am I giving the carry to the Feldspar? Because it's an unfair fucking comparison, because you got a pocket pecker right there. This thing has no pocket pecker, right? It's a thumb stud. So by virtue of the fact that they are very similar, and one's a thumb stud, one's a flipper, you got to give the carry to the thumb stud. Everything else is almost the exact same. So the Feldspar takes down the carry. Blade shape. Now this one's not as straightforward, or the blade rather. This one's not as straightforward as one would imagine. You got D2 steel on the CJRB, which in theory is better than the 9CR18 MOV. Again, people are arguing against that to some extent. Plus one stainless to an extent, the other one's not. The blade shapes are generically the same. The Civivi has, this doesn't have a swedge going down at all, which allows this tip to be a little bit thicker, so it can do more. Whoa, shit, way fucking thicker. Look at that. This thing can do more work with the blade. This thing's blade is just stupid slicey. Now this is a stupid slicey blade too, but with this hollow grind that you got going on here, super slicey. So what am I getting at here? So I'm gonna give the win to the Feldspar. Why am I gonna do that? Because while the Backlash is slicier, I try to use the blade category as what can I do more with. Now, that may sound a little crazy, but this thing, I'm not gonna fucking damage this blade. This thing's a tank, and it's just stupid. It's the blade is so tanky. It slices well enough. This is a fantastic slicer, but if I was ever to break a blade, which, by the way, really isn't a thing because I haven't done it. I don't know how many of you actually have and can say that you weren't doing something fucking stupid with your blade to break it. But that being said, I gotta give the blade to the Feldspar just because I feel like I can go whack it with a hammer and nothing's gonna happen. And it still cuts. Obviously, first and foremost, it cuts. This, super slicey, but this is slicey enough and will withstand the test of time. So, Feldspar. Agree with that or don't agree with that, that's fine. Whatever. Fidget factor. This one's kind of tough, too. Why? Because you're doing a flipper versus a thumb stud. This one's detent is stupid strong, so CJRB cannot figure out their detents. One of them's strong, one of them's weak. It's just crazy. Not stupid strong, it's just strong. This detent on the Backlash, pretty equally as strong, if not more. But due to the flipper tab, you can flip it easier. Now, where the argument may come into play, and I've had annoyance with this, is this jimping on this liner lock just kind of gets annoying. I am finding myself preferring a smoother jimping. Here. Fidget factor, what can I go with? Yeah. This is almost unfair, but the blade on the Civivi is... I don't know where I want to go with this. The blade on the Civivi is lighter, so you're not going to get as good of a fall shut action as you do with the Feldspar. It has nothing to do with anything other than the blade just being so much heavier. And actually getting into this, let's just kind of go into, yeah, it's going to take off some weight on. So the weight on the Feldspar is a 4.15, whereas the weight on the Civivi is coming in at a whopping 3.5. So it's almost an ounce lighter, which you may or may not notice. I don't notice it. But, you know, and that kind of goes back to carry, but like I said, the pocket pecker, you're almost going to lose every time the thumb sets. Fail. So fidget factor, you know, this is a pseudo win for the Feldspar. But then again, the flipper tab, I'm going to let this decide. So, unfortunately for my Backlash, I think the Feldspar just took it down, and I'm actually trying to make the Backlash win right now. I think the fidget factor goes to the Feldspar. Now, flipper tab should win the fidget factor. Yeah, I'm going to give these two a tie, because the flipper tab does create a different element to fidgeting, and the thumb stud does, it has its own right. Like, everybody loves thumb studs because there's not that many of them anymore. Everything's a flipper tab. So take that for what you will. These are getting a tie for the fidget factor. Now, value. What am I getting with the Civivi over the CJRB? If you look at the quality, and let's assume that you're getting a quality knife with the CJRB each and every time. Let's assume that 9CR18 MOV is less than D2. If you assume those, then the Feldspar wins for value. But you can't assume that all quality factors in play are, yeah, I mean, I've already shown it. I have 12 CJRBs, and half of them had a quality issue coming in the door, you know, be it non-centered, you know, a little bit of blade play, whatever, and you could fix those things, but it's like they skimped around the corners. So if you want a knife that you don't really care about some of the details, you know, like the bitchy shit that we all talk about for the enthusiast side of things, if you don't really care about those, the Feldspar takes it down. I mean, the Feldspar wins if you don't give a shit about the little bitchy details. Me being an enthusiast, that hence the channel, I do care a little bit about the bitchy details. I love the ergonomics here. I love the fact that they put jimping in a thumb wrap right there. I love the fact that they contoured these scales. You know, these are contoured to it. That was the word I was looking for. But I'm in love with the Backlash, guys. So this is hard for me to say, you know, the Feldspar takes it down, because I don't believe it does. For me, quality-wise, if I can go back and purchase both of these knives because I lost them, I have to be honest with myself, and if I only had to choose from these two with my $50 that I had on hand, I would buy the Backlash. That's why I got to give it the value. Even though it's $9 more or maybe $6 more, it's not anything crazy. I just feel like they took more time with the knife and put more effort into it. Maybe that's me skewing the stats. I don't know. You know, or you could even give them a tie. Either way, you know, is D2 better than 9CR18 MOV? You pick. It's you need to use them and find out. Do you like sharpening your blades? I do. So, you know, does that mean you should pay more for it? 'Cause you're like, no, but is it going to stain or corrode? No, I mean, it's not, you know, so you're getting a longer lasting knife in this theory, but this blade's a little bit thicker. So it's all a toss up in the value. Maybe I'll give the value a tie too. Because while the CJRB is $6-7 less, you're also getting $6-7 less in quality and attention to detail. So what does that put us? I'll make that an official tie. Where does that put us? The aesthetics, the ergonomics, and the quality go to the Backlash. I'm giving the carry and the blade to the Feldspar. Now, the blade could have gone either way as well. Don't forget that. The fidget factor can really go either way. They're both super fidgety knives. You can sit there and do this for days. You know, I have my qualms with the Backlash, but I also have a little bit of problems with this one too. So it's you take it or leave it. And then the value is a tie as well, because you're kind of hit and miss in what you're picking on the value for. So there it is, guys. Out of this comparison, which one would I personally buy based on my own criteria here? Maybe skewed because I'm a fucking Backlash fanboy. It would be the Backlash. It won 3-2 with 2 ties. But that goes to show you, it was a really tough fight for these two. So CJRB did a really good job of trying to bring a knife up to the Backlash's level for the price range that they were trying to stay in. So you have to give the credit where the credit is due there. Yeah, you cannot hate on CJRB for it. It's not. These two are so comparable, so great. These are the staples of either one of those brands. Yes, the Praxis is up there as a staple of the brand. You know, yes, the Elementum is now taking over, but this was the original. This and the Praxis took the world by storm with these two guys. And due to the Feldspar and the Centros, those are taking the world by storm, and now the Rhea comes into play, right? Just like the Dogma came into play for the Civivi, or the, you name it, the Elementum rather. I should use the Elementum because it's more popular. But, so there it is. Your winner in these two comparisons is the Backlash. That's which one I would buy. But, again, very, very close matchup. If it were a battle to the death, the young buck, the Feldspar, gets knocked out of the arena, but, he's got more fight in him. Fight for another day. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Tyler. This has been Everyday EDC. You guys stay sharp, stay safe, stay COVID-free, keep your fucking masks on, and respect each other. Got it? Have a great day.